Hey guys, like on the beaten trail. Look at this camera. Adjust it a little bit here. So this episode is a discussion of UTV models that I have owned. So you can go back in time and see the history of exactly what I own, but I started out with a Razor Trail 2020 Fox Edition Trail Model 50-inch Razor. And I started that out in 2019, 2020, and that's when I started the channel. Previously in my life, I have had Yamaha YZ80s, Yamaha 125s, a little KM100, Kawasaki, an old CT70 pit bike, which I really wish I hadn't gotten rid of, but had been a lot of great adventures when I was younger riding those. From a model standpoint, I had just gotten into side-by-sides. I think it was just 2020, all right? We had COVID. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't go anywhere. So since I knew that these parks were open, I said, we're going to go riding. So I might have spent maybe $14,000 on this little Razor Trail. And yeah, I know, accessories cost more, but it was really cheap at the time. And I bought it in New York State and brought it home. I had a little trailer, towed it around, and honestly, it was a good little unit. I mean, you learn as you go along. Stock tires suck, so I was always breaking tires, blowing sidewalls, punctures, pinches, you name it. And I went finally with the Tusk Terabytes, and we had better luck with the unit. We just, we had better tires. 6, 8 ply maybe. I don't even think they were more than 6 or 8 ply. And then I had the trouble with the front differential. It just stopped working. I brought it to Motorcycle Mall. They were not very useful at all. I think they were doing some funny business with parts. So I pretty much got the insurance company involved. It eventually got replaced, but I wasn't paying $3,300 for a new Polaris front diff where they say the seals failed, which I call BS on that. Polaris, if your seals fail after a year, you should not be selling side-by-sides, okay? And then if you want to use the excuse it's a cheap model, well then you're just a bad marketer and a bad manufacturer. Regardless, got it fixed, and I had enough, and I sold it. And so, sold it to Keith. Before I sold it, I did do my research, and I went out and I bought a 21 Honda Talon 1000R 68-inch. I couldn't find any 64s, and I kind of was in a pinch, and I wanted to get it, and to find it was really hard. And so, yes, she was too big for certain places, but that was that. Keith took the Razor, and he had a long life with it. I mean, there's always bushings and axles and wheel bearings and all kinds of stuff to replace, but thankfully I didn't have any engine problems, just other than the funny business with Polaris and the front diff. Honestly, I had no issues. I mean, the shocks and the tires need to be replaced, and I would recommend that you do that with any vehicle that you get. Don't keep the stock springs, because they're just not meant for long term, unless you buy like a $60,000 side-by-side. So the Honda did okay. I had her for a year. Unlike the Polaris, I did not buy the extended warranty, and I knew I could buy it later, but it didn't even help me when I did have problems with the Honda. Now, in my opinion, with my experience, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Honda really have some of the best ratings service-wise for vehicles and devices. Now, Honda has been making Pioneers and a bunch of stuff, but the Talon was pretty new. And the only real issue that I had was I did have a lower steering connector for the harness corrode and go bad. And I had to have that replaced, and then eventually Honda said, oh, you need a whole new wiring harness, like $900 for a new wiring harness. And we've had this discussion many times. If you have to replace a wiring harness in a side-by-side, you're looking at 20 hours minimum to do that. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how confident you are. Unless you're working in a shop that does it full time, it's going to take you a while, and it's going to be a mess, and it's going to be parts everywhere. either way, I told him to go pound sand, and I decided to sell the Honda. So the issue I had is I had the live valve light go on because live valve would not reset because of that lower connector was affected by the, I want to say it was the steering angle sensor. So you couldn't reset the live valve. So basically my 1000R live valve version had no live valve. Wasn't very noticeable. Somebody said, oh, unplug the light, cover the light up, but so I had made a friend, Adrian, who worked at Pine Grove Yamaha. He has since moved on to other dealers. But when he worked there, it's a Yamaha dealer. And he was like, hey, what's it going to take to get you in an RMAX or a YXZ? And I said, you'd have to give me 10 grand for this piece of crap here and whatever on a trade-in and give me a good deal and this and this and that. So he finally talked me into it. And I came real close to getting a YXZ as well. I don't know how things would have changed had I gotten a YXZ versus a RMAX, but I got a 24 RMAX XTR 2-seat. Prior to that, I had bought a Grizzly 2023 XTR quad ATV and love it. Used it to do testing on a lot of different 50-inch trails, DCNR trails. And it's still great to have, and I still try to use it regularly. You know, she's a good unit, and I think I got to bring her in for a little bit of a tune-up, but every year we do that, and it's fine. The RMAX goes in every year or so to do the fluids and everything. I know I can do a lot by myself, but I have them do it. They do have the extended warranty on it, and I know the belt is covered. The warranty doesn't cover the service, but I have them do the service either way. I've never owned, technically, a Kawasaki, and the reason why, I did have a friend who had a mule, and we used to drive that around down in the Pine Barrens and all over the place, but a Terex or a KRX, the models were always 68, and after having the Honda at 68, even though it would fit in places like SSRT, you can't fit it in Bloody Skillet, Whiskey Springs, and a lot of other out-of-state state-run or state-regulated trails, you know, everywhere else in other states, Vermont, New Hampshire, Arkansas, they're 64. That's typically the limit, and that has to come up with the times. It has to be changed. 64 is not realistic anymore because you know most vehicles are going to be, half the vehicles are 64 or less, and the other half are bigger than that. And you know, at one point I sat in Shane's Can-Am and I was not comfortable in the seating position. I wasn't comfortable in the seats either. And I wasn't comfortable in any Can-Am seats until I sat in my friend Rich's Can-Am, which was a 4-seater down in Tennessee. Well, I wound up buying that because he had non-stock seats. It was just a great experience. It was a great deal for me to get. And you know, for getting it for a cheap price that I got, it had, you know, you're talking a $40,000 unit with about $20,000 or $30,000 worth of accessories on it, and I got it really cheap. So let's just say I'm happy with it. She, meaning that 4-seater Can-Am Max, it's an X3 RS Turbo RR, is in Pennsylvania, and she will be appearing out in AOAA for the summer. I don't think this weekend I'll be riding it, but definitely in the weeks ahead, we'll be out there taking a ride. So what does that mean for the RMAX? Well, the RMAX is good and reliable. It is a bit of a upright seating position, golf cart kind of riding, but it does get up quite a lot. So we'll have future discussions on that, but those, I've ridden Segways. I haven't ever owned one. They have great responsive engines. I do miss the paddle shifters on the Honda, so I wish I could still have something like that, but not until Honda comes up with something that's more powerful. I haven't ridden the new, H2 Kawasaki. I have ridden the Maverick R. Love to get one of those, but at 70-something inches, 77 inches, that's a big mama. So that's really about it. I've driven quite a lot, but I haven't driven all of them, and we also did Defenders out with Can-Am out in Moab, so look that up. That's our short and sweet 10-minute episode on brands of UTVs. Thanks for watching.